Well, I am stumped yet again that shit like this is able to be publicated to any media outlet for or against this transgender movement and be seen as semi-normal to an ever-growing number of the population. A few articles more and more coming out as the day's going on. I mean, this was late last night, but there's multiple articles now. SNP, as per usual. Lefty Marxist bastards in sheep's clothing. Children could be allowed to legally change gender before puberty. New SNP shake-up. We've also got... my computer's running really slow today. Scottish adults and children to be allowed to change their legal gender to neither male nor female, And we've also got SNP chiefs warned given under 16s power to change gender would be state-sponsored child abuse. This is just ridiculous. I mean, Nicola Sturgeon, SNP, she's always virtue signalling. It wasn't that long ago. She came out 7th of November. We're now on the 10th. Nicola Sturgeon makes gay convictions apology. This was all committed by the state. Oh, fuck off. You know what I mean? Yeah, granted, gay people were mistreated and whatnot, 30, 40 odd years ago, right? Times have changed. The time for apology would have been 30, 40 years ago, not fucking now. I mean, she's just pandering to the ever-growing amount of liberal lefties that are roaming our streets protesting, and she's no different to them, to be quite honest. I mean, I'm actually ashamed of myself that I ever used to support the SNP when I was younger, man. I'm actually ashamed. She has done nothing for the Scottish people. Nothing at all since she's taken the helm of the SNP. All she's done is run this country into the ground. Well, her puppet masters are doing it, I should say. She's just doing thy bidding. She's done nothing but run this country into the ground. And all she's really done is stuck to her promise about making it fucking easier for the LGBTs on the T to wander and parade about the place, screaming victimization. I mean, just spare me this rhetoric. Anyway, we got that children could be allowed to legally change gender before reaching puberty, and a controversial shake-up unveiled by SNP ministers. Proposals published today would permit those aged as young as 12 to change their gender or legally identify as neither male nor female without parental consent. The Scottish Government is also considering creating a non-binary gender for those who do not identify as man or woman, while making it legal to self-declare which gender they want to be. This could see children and adults changing their legal status without any medical diagnosis or treatment, and may potentially switch more than once. At present, Scots must be 18, need a formal diagnosis of gender dysphoria, and must live for 2 years in their desired gender to do so. Well, that's changing anyway. Theresa May came out not that long ago declaring it's not a mental illness. So if it's not a mental illness, why would you need a diagnosis? Second of all, I'm struggling. Justine Greening, I need to get the link up before I misquote or something. 2 seconds. Here we go. Gender reassignment could be streamlined under proposal. The Equalities Minister Justine Greening proposes removing need for medical diagnosis of gender dysphoria. Proposals to what is this shit? Oh, fuck off. Proposals to streamline the process of changing gender have been unveiled by the government as part of an attempt to boost equality for the LGBT emphasis on the T community. It will also become easier for gay men to give blood, and the plans unveiled by the Women and Equalities Minister Justine Greening. Her department will undertake a nationwide survey of the LGBT and the T community, which will be used to inform future plans to boost equality for the LGBT and the T. So, this will become null and void anyway. So, every single avenue they've got covered to make this as easy as possible. It's just insane that this shit is going on. And 12 fucking years old, man. 12 years old. It's my god, man. I mean, when I was 12, I'm trying to think what I was doing at 12 years old. Yeah, I was still in my room all the time, playing my games and shit. You know what I mean? I was just a kid, an innocent little kid, just doing what kids do. Now they're just enforcing this shit. School education is going to screw them up with this non-binary bullshit being introduced, and then when they start to maybe get confused with what they're learning in school with the compulsory education that they're putting in place thanks to Sturgeon and Theresa Sharia pro Remain May now, when they start to get confused, they can legally change their gender. Can of worms. Doesn't even come close at this point. Equality Secretary Angela Constance said she wanted to remove intrusive and onerous requirements on those applying to have their gender legally recognised, describing the UK Gender Recognition Act 2004 out of date. One thing here is quite funny though. Do you know the Gender Recognition Act from 2004? Sex and gender are two different things. Gender is an identity. Yeah, well, that thing's based on what they now call sex. So why is it not called the Sex Recognition Act? Actually, go down that route. Why is bisexual called bisexual? Why isn't it called bigender? Or is that a new gender now? It probably is. Who knows? Digressing. Sorry. It's just... what else have we got? Sorry. Scottish adults and children will be allowed to change their gender so that legally they are neither male nor female. I mean, why are you pondering? This is the problem here. This is a this shouldn't be non-binary. It's non-existent. There is no such thing as non-binary. Somebody that identifies as non-binary either is deluded or a fucking freak. I'm sorry. Let me get some non-binary phobic. Is that even a word yet? There is no such thing. A little boy that grows up that doesn't like football doesn't automatically give him the right to be able to say, yeah, well, boys like football and I don't, so I'm non-binary. It doesn't work like that. Right? They bang on about these social stereotypes forced on us by traditional views. You know, boys have to do this and boys have to do that, and girls have to do this and girls have to do that. So when somebody doesn't fit into these social stereotypes, all of a sudden they self-diagnose themselves as non-binary. No, you're just a boy that doesn't particularly like boy things, or a girl that doesn't particularly like girl things. It doesn't mean you're non-binary. So the complete and utter lunacy of it all, if it wasn't bad enough that there was people self-diagnosing themselves as shit like this, we've got the government backing it. They are reinforcing a fucking lie. Reinforcing delusion. And that is never healthy. Never healthy. Do you ever, when there's an alcoholic, do you just pander to the alcoholic and say that he doesn't have a drink problem when he blatantly does? Or the paedophile that's into kids, you tell him it's not wrong? Or you could even go one step further with these trans species fruitcakes. Oh yeah, this little Jenny identifies as a cat. Well, let's just pretend she's a cat then. Or little Darren likes Batman. He identifies as Batman. Let's just tell him he's Batman, so he goes into school and makes a twat of himself. I mean, what? Where'd you draw the line? Oh, but this is gender. It's different. No, it's not different. Delusions go all across the board. And it's ridiculous that it's been treated as something that it's not. It's insane. You're actively encouraging people to end up screwed up, all in the name of liberalism, aka Marxism. Unveiled plans to create a non-binary gender for people who do not identify as man or woman, and to make it legal to self-declare which gender they want to be. This means that Scots could change their legal status without a medical diagnosis or treatment and potentially switch more than one. This is like literally word from the Express. The document noted that the law around parentage and marriage must be changed to clearly include non-binary people. For fuck's sake, man. The criminal law may also have to be overhauled to ensure that any remaining gender-specific offences can be committed by people of all legal sexes. I mean, this is just becoming gibberish at this point. What the It is estimated that there are more than 10,000 people in Scotland who are transgender, which means their gender identity is not the same as their assigned sex. Thanks for that one. No, that's not what it means, though. Let me correct you in this one. Transgender supposed to be means transitioning from gender A to gender B. These new breed of arseholes, no other way to describe them at this point, arseholes that claim to be transgender, but they have, what was it they say, that I'm transgender but I'm not transgender. I'm not strictly speaking transgender, like I don't feel dysphoria, but I know I'm transgender. Like, they are freaks. Gender A to B, or B to A, not A to Z, or P, or Q, or R, or 2.3, A, B, B, A. Anyway, the proposed changes aim to simplify the process set out by the out-of-date I'm just sick of this shit. And of course, there's SNP chiefs warned giving under 16s Power to change gender would be state-sponsored child abuse. The proposal was one of a raft of measures and a major shake-up unveiled by Equality Secretary Angela Constance. It also included policies suggesting by the party, including lowering the legal age for reassigning gender in a birth certificate from 18 to 16. But there was furious backlash against a plan for under 16s to be able to reassign their gender, potentially without their parents' permission. Dr. Stuart Waite, a sociologist at Abertay University, said yesterday 18-year-olds can do what they like with their bodies, but for a government to suggest that 12-year-olds, immature young people who don't have the right to go to bed when they want, let alone anything else, can have gender reassignment should be seen as a form of state-sponsored child abuse. And Simon Calvert of the Christian Institute said politicians must stop and ask themselves if jumping on this bandwagon is really helping children. I can't believe I'm making a video on this, because I can't believe that this is becoming... This is actually in the papers, and this is the problem here. It's just getting out of hand. Are you fucking serious? An option titled Application for Capable Child would permit a person under 16 to apply in the same manner as an adult, provided they had the capacity to understand the consequences. I mean, come... Oh my god, man. There's no kid on this earth, 12... 13, even 14, knows for a damn sure what they want to be when they're older. I've used all the comparisons under the sun in the past. Your tomboys and your feminine-like actual boys, acting like girls, and so on and so forth. This shit is out of hand. I mean, fucking hell, man. Other measures include self-declaration becoming standard practice, instead of having to provide medical evidence of living in a new gender for 2 years. Non-binary bullshit once again. Move is positive. Summer's birth certificate still shows her as a man. Because you are a man. Disregard that. It's positive for you. See, this is what the last thing I'm saying, because I'm ending this video, because I keep making them too long. These transgender activists piss me off. To the point where if I said what I really want to say, I'd probably get banned off YouTube permanently without even a strike. They are sick, repulsive pieces of excrement. They sit there and they say that it's positive because it makes them feel better about themselves. They don't give a shit about fucking children. None of these activists do. None at all. Because they are speaking for themselves and for their friends in their little LGBT protest parades. They don't give a shit if a 3 or a 4 or a 5 or a 6 or a 7-year-old starts getting taught education to make them become quote-unquote inclusive. They don't care because it makes them feel better. Oh, nobody's going to call me a tranny anymore because all the kids are learning about it. But when kids start to end up confused or even suicidal, that burden and that onus is on you and nobody else. But you call me a transphobic, you call me a bigot, you call me under the names under the sun, which is completely and utterly a contradiction in every form of the fucking word, because I'm the one that's trying to look out for children. What good does it do getting 50, 40 views on a video every time I upload? But these people are going to get what they want regardless of what I say. I'll tell you one thing for nothing, as long as I live and fucking breathe on this earth, there'll be no kid of mine questioning his gender. Never. Bye. Peace.